Disclaimer: the third group would like to tell that Mr. Clint Bacornay won't be joining us for this activity like the previous ones. He has no internet connection at his place, nor does a stable connection exist there for us to contact him in any other method. Anyways, we will proceed with the forum proper. Good day everyone, I am your moderator Patrick Nino D. Sagrado, and welcome to the Tech Talk featured in a panel forum podcast format. We are joined today by an educational organization who is advocating for a safe cyberspace in this time of online classes in the middle of the global pandemic. So without further ado, let's have our first speaker who will discuss to us freedom of expression and censorship, not only to the online world but also in the real one. A round of applause for Mr. RJ Ramirez.
Good afternoon, everyone. Praise be Jesus and Mary. My name is RJ Ramirez, and I'm going to report all about freedom of expression and censorship. So first, let us define freedom of expression. Freedom of expression is a given right to each individual under a current state, democracy, or any other forms of government that all of us have except for dictatorship and other very constricting forms of the government. But then it says that freedom of expression gives you the right to express your thoughts, your ideas, either from words, written documents, texts, and other forms of communication. So basically, all of us has it already, and it is given a fact that we as individuals should know our limits, and that's where censorship comes in. So censorship, as it said, limits and restricts us from doing anything unlawful and having an arbitrary label to all those rights that we have as an individual to express our thoughts and ideas. So basically, we should embrace our rights but also know our limits, put on labels to each of our words, and of course, we should always remember that our rights end when we step on other people's rights. Given that sentence, we should always think to be responsible of each of our actions, not just our words, but how we enact our words, because our actions speaks louder than what we try to portray to other people's, because it defines our facade and how we try to put up a face and give others what we want them to see us, right? So, given with that, I've always learned that, life is hard. And of course, expressing oneself is one way to have a reprieve of that hard life that we are leading. But then we should always have, forethoughts of how these can affect ourselves and the others. Like for instance, if we abuse our rights, if we abuse our freedom of expression, we are now verbally abusing other people's if given the situation and other circumstances. That's why it is important to put an arbitration, to put censorship towards our freedom of expression, because it keeps us and limits us to hurt other people by our words. Because I believe in the saying that sometimes words are more painful than a punch. Basically, because it bruises our ego and it also demeans our mental state. And it can also affect us emotionally as well. That could hinder a person from doing his or her job. So, lastly, in general, we should embrace not only our rights but also the responsibilities that comes with it. Because for me, having this right to express ourselves gives us power. It gives us empowerment to do and to give other people inspiration, but it can also destroy other people's mindsets and their perceptions in life. It depends on how we use that power. We should be responsible in the use and management of that kind of power. And that comes with censorship and responsibility, and that should be given paramount. So, guys, we should always remember to be responsible of each of our actions because it can also affect other people and their perceptions in life. It changes everything, and it can also either help or destroy a person's reputation. And lastly, we should always try to be polite and to be, be a bigger person towards others, because by doing so, we are giving a good example towards other people and the new generation nowadays. Because I believe that the world will become a better place if we start to change within ourselves. That would be all. Thank you.
Thank you for that engaging speech, Mr. Ramirez, on our right to express ourselves in a free manner and the limits of such a right. We now proceed to our second speaker. She will discuss to us the privacy and security that are featured within the cyber world and the fact that we should not be too complacent in it. Give her a warm welcome for her speech on privacy and security, Miss Mary Joy Ahan.
So for today's topic, privacy and security. So when it comes to privacy and security, it's a good idea to have both. Each can impact your cyber safety, but what's the difference between privacy and security? Privacy relates to any rights you have to control your personal information and how it used. Think about those privacy policy you're asked to read and agree to when you download new smartphone apps. On other hand, security refers to how your personal information is protected. Your data, different details about you, may live in a lot of places that can challenge you both your privacy and security. So here are my some tips using privacy and security. So number one, limit what you share on social media and online. Yes, because if you post everything about your life, there are some people who is interested in your life may hack your account or get information about you. Number two, share important documents before using them in the trust. Yes, be careful deleting your documents. It might you delete the important ones. Number three, use strong passwords that no one can easily access your personal data.
Thank you for those tips, Miss Ahan. Surely we have learned a lot in keeping our own lives at a more private manner. To further that discussion, we have the third tech talk on the surveillance and data retention that is present in the online world. For this discussion, let's have our third speaker, Mr. Ronald James D. Olila. A warm round of applause.
Surveillance and data retention. In this article, it details the different types of data that are created, collected, and analyzed, and discuss how they enable different forms of surveillance and control of human rights defender. This is followed by several recommendations on how to regain a certain degree of control over HRD, and a list of useful resources and guides which enable one to use the internet with increased privacy and security while maintaining one's political engagement and citizenship. This message was sent to mobile phone users located near a protest area in Kyiv in 2014, their mobile phones revealing their location. One seemingly innocent piece of data such as location situated in the social and political context of Ukraine was linking people to a larger political tension. The prosecutor general called the protests a crime against the state and labeled protesters or those in the protest vicinity as criminals. The internet has profoundly changed over the last decade, moving from a free, open, decentralized, and do-it-yourself internet to a centralized and commercially oriented internet. Major players such as the well-known GAFAM or the Google, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, and Microsoft have offered users convenience and often innovative online services and platforms for free. Nonetheless, this convenience has come at a cost. GAFAM offers more than just free user services. These companies provide the hardware and software foundations of the internet, making it virtually impossible not to use any of their products, as other user products are built into their infrastructure. This centralization goes hand in hand with one of the key commercial driving forces of the internet, data. These companies feel entitled to collect and sell the personal data of their users. This data-centric world has and will continue to negatively impact the ability and freedom of individuals to exercise their freedom of speech and challenge those in power as well as encroaching on people's privacy. It will also increase cases of data discrimination in which oppressed or marginalized communities are further socially excluded due to opaque algorithmic processes. Moreover, this centralization, commercialization, and datafication trends have also made it easier for governments and companies to engage in surveillance activities aimed at controlling, censoring, and tracking down political dissents and HRD or the human rights defender.
Thank you for sharing the details of the online world's data retention, Mr. Olila. The last speaker that we have today will present to us the physical effects of modern society's attachment to the cyber world. That discussion will be on e-pollutants from e-waste. This will be discussed by Ms. Niciel B. Agustines. Please give her a round of applause, everyone.
Now, let's talk about electronic pollution from electronic waste. E-pollution is a form of pollution caused by the discarded electrical or electronic devices. Used electronics which are destined for use, resale, salvage, recycling or disposal are also considered as electronic waste or e-waste. Some examples include mobile phones, television sets, computer sets, refrigerator, tape recorders, and many more. These can be classified into three parts: the recycled, non-recycled, and risky. Electronic scrap components, such as CPUs, contain potentially harmful components, such as lead, cadmium, beryllium, or brominated flame retardants. Recycling and disposal of waste may involve significant risk to the health workers and communities in developed countries, and great care must be taken to avoid unsafe exposure in recycling operations and leaking of materials such as heavy metals from landfills or incinerator ashes. Disposal of e-waste is an emerging global environmental and public health issue, as this waste has become the most rapidly growing segment of the formal municipal waste stream in the world. With the technology advancement, surplus in demand and surplus in supply leads to excessive wastage of products. With the release of new technology every year, people tend to adapt to a newer one rather than the old product. Electronic waste affects nearly every system in the human body because they contain toxic components including mercury, lead, cadmium, polybrominated flame retardants, barium, and lithium. Even the plastic casings of electronic products contain polyvinyl chloride. It has been confirmed that contaminants are moving through the food chain via root plant translocation system, which are threatening to the human health. E-waste connected health risks may result from direct contact with these harmful materials, from inhalation of toxic fumes, as well as from accumulation of chemicals in soil, water, and food. The health effects of these toxins in humans include birth defects, brain, heart, liver, kidney, and skeletal system damage. They will also significantly affect the nervous and reproductive systems of the human body. Furthermore, their body's functional systems, such as the central nervous, immune, reproductive, and digestive system, are still developing, and exposure to toxic substances by hampering further development may cause irreversible damage. The key success in terms to e-waste management is to develop eco-design devices, properly collect e-waste, recover and recycle material by safety methods, dispose of e-waste by suitable techniques, and forbid the transfer of used electronic devices to developing countries and raise awareness of the impact of e-waste.
Thank you, Ms. Agustines, for telling us the ill effects of e-pollutants to the material world and to our well-being. In a while, we will receive from the online world questions from our dear audience. For the first question, we have Diego Rivera on Facebook. He asks, is Facebook safe and secure to use? Why or why not? It seems that this is in your lane, Miss Ahan.
Facebook is safe for everybody since it has advantage and disadvantages for every individual that using this kind of social media platform. We cannot actually say it is safe because we enjoy to use it in order to justify our worthiness in life, but we can't deny the fact that this Facebook is the cause of spreading the fake news and other harmful assassination happen in social media. Therefore, I can say that this social platform is not safe for everybody or everyone since we are surrounded by media and technology. It can exploit our dignity and reputation in our life using this kind of social media platform.
This should be a question for you, Miss Agustines. How could we lessen the ill effects of these e-waste? This was asked by Elsa Acosta through Facebook.
Remedies also includes standardization and regulatory measures to increase the life cycle of equipments, efficient extraction of toxic components, and requiring the recycling by both consumers and equipment vendors. If not controlled, then e-waste will tremendously affect climate change, damage human lives, and overload the capacity of the earth in carrying solid waste.
This goes to Mr. Olila. Michael Gonzaga from Twitter asks, if our data is being observed, should we still continue to use the internet?
Like for me, I should be careful in using the internet and I would choose to keep my personal information. Facebook is one of the social media that I have used since I started using the internet. And we can still use or browse the internet, but we must be vigilant in using other social media sites.
From Rica Vicente on Twitter, she asks, what tips can you offer in order to self-regulate your expression of freedom? Since Mr. Ramirez left early, I'll gladly answer this. So, you need to think before you click. That is the main self-censorship that you can do in order to not cross the bounds of your freedom in the online world. So that ends the Q&A portion for our speakers. So a recap on today's Tech Talk forum, we have learned the issues that netizens are currently affected. May it be that they know or not, these issues still affect each and every netizen. Where freedom of expression is sacrificed under censorship to lessen the ill quotes that may rise from the diversified collection of minds that meet within the cyber world. Though, this isn't much of an issue but a compromise at best. While issues on privacy, security, surveillance, and data retention endangers our online lives and the real ones. If our sensitive information gets taken and leaked for illegal businesses to use in their illegal activities. Lastly, the issue on electronic waste or e-waste plagues our modern world for the trash that we've accumulated because of aging technology. Overall, the only remedy here is to discipline ourselves. We have the control over these issues. We take that our expression is not that fully encompassing. Our sensitive information should always stay private and discern on what to do is right. That ends the Tech Talk forum. So ladies and gentlemen, a final round of applause for our dear speakers, Mr. R.J. Ramirez, Miss Mary Joy Ahan, Mr. Ronald James D. Olilla, and Miss Niciel P. Agustines. Once again, I am your moderator, Patrick Nino D. Sagrado, saying a good day to you everyone, and until the next Tech Talk Forum.